11, while most churches do Bible study, one Roanoke church community is studying another kind of book. Melrose Baptist dove headfirst into Dope Sick, the critically acclaimed nonfiction work covering opioid addiction in Appalachia. As 10 News reporter Shane Dwyer shows us, after a month of study, they feel more empowered than ever to help.
I used to wake up in the throes of my addiction and pray, and I mean literally, Lord, please let me die today.
At Melrose Baptist Church in Roanoke Wednesday, there's no holding back. Niles Comer is a recovering addict, and he shared what it's really like.
You leave here tonight if you're not a little bit disturbed and a little bit hopeful, then I haven't done my job, because it's a disturbing topic, but also there's hope and that people do find recovery.
Experiences like this are what Melrose Baptist Church says have made a difference. Once a week for about a month, this group of about 100 people total has met to listen, share, and reflect on our world today.
We need to talk about this with our community, because these are good people that have just gotten really messed up, and that doesn't make them bad.
Associate Pastor Reverend Brenda Rowe says her reading the book Dope Sick made this happen. The author of that book, Beth Macy, was the guest speaker the first night, and then they broke into small groups after, like they've done the other nights.
Drugs don't have a jurisdiction.
Through 4 weeks of meeting, she says it's made a difference.
We just found out yesterday that one of the young men that came here to the first session went into detox yesterday, and he is going into a long-term program through Hope Initiative.
And they say one person accepting it's their time to get clean is the start of a bigger movement.
Now, if I ask for help, then that's where your responsibility begins.
Comer says people in the Roanoke Valley have some of the best chances of getting clean because of the support system here.
Roanoke is on the cutting edge. The Valley, with the collective response and the various organizations, law enforcement and hospitals, all coming together. It's amazing. It's one of the reasons why I moved back, was to be a part of this.
Adding one more person to the ring of support, something these folks hope can continue to grow. In Roanoke, Shane Dwyer, 10 News, working for you.